all together today, Lord. Thank you for the gift of sobriety. Lord, we just pray for those that are still out there suffering. Pray that you give them the sufficient amount of misery that it took to get all of us here, Lord. Just give me the words and have everybody in this room have open ears and open minds. Amen. Amen. All right, guys. So my name's Skip. Some of you probably know me. I'm from Arkansas. My sobriety day is October 7th, 2019. That day also was the last time I did a shot of dope. And what happened was that I did this shot of dope while I was hiding in a freaking junkyard, and all I had was 55-gallon barrel water. Okay? And that put me in the hospital pretty much on my deathbed, man. That was my sufficient amount of misery. We're going to get a little bit more into that here in a minute. I just want to share that with you. When I was growing up, man, my childhood was a little rough. I was born in Colorado in 1982. My mom and my dad was full-blown alcoholic still to this day. But he still functions. I don't get it, you know. But, mom never drank. I mean, I seen her drink a couple times, but never was her thing, you know. They got divorced. My grandparents moved to Arkansas. We went with. My mom met this other guy, and those 7 years of that marriage were hell on my brother and I, and my mom. My brother and I took the beatings. My mom took the mental and verbal abuse. You know what I'm saying? Man, dude, I literally just felt like a piece of shit. I didn't want to go home from school. I got picked on at school because I had big ears. You know, there's just a lot. So I had no self-esteem and no self-worth. And I mean, at that time, I'm like a young kid. Like, I don't really realize that's what that is, you know? But I just didn't really. So it was pretty tough. So fast forward a little bit to the divorce. My mom shipped me off to Colorado to live with my aunt. My uncle was really big into sports. He got me playing football. He got me playing baseball. He got me playing basketball. And there was where I found that self-worth. I was a good athlete, man. You know what I mean? Like, I got that praise I wanted. I was seeking from other people. I was kind of popular because I was good at sports. Once I got to high school, I was real good at sports, got real popular there. Learned that at age 14 I drank, I smoked weed, and I got laid all the same year. It was a good year for Skip. You know what I mean? And then I would party all the time, and I was playing football, and I was, just doing that whole jock thing, I guess you could say. And it was fun, man, for a long time. But until one day, my buddy hit me up right before school with some OG Kush. First time I ever smoked OG Kush. We got real high on it. I walked into the classroom like I was just, and the teacher, one day she's at the door saying hi to everybody. And that was that day. You know what I mean? So I'm walking there, she smells it on me, and she's like, all right, you just go straight to the principal's office. That got me kicked off every team. Coaches, ultimately I quit school because of that. We got my GED, and once you start rubbing shoulders in the drug world, even if it's just weed, you start rubbing shoulders with people that got other things too. And that's when methamphetamines was introduced in my life. By the time I was 19, I was a hardcore needle user. I mean, I'm not trying to glorify, but however you can think of being a needle junkie at the time was what it was, okay? I ended up doing one shot. They ended up making me pass out. I woke up like 30 hours later, and I quit using the needle, okay? From the age 14 to the day I got to October 7th, 2019, it's 23 years of me completely using alcohol, pills, cocaine, methamphetamines. It didn't matter what it was. I was always on something. You know, that's just how it was. My drinking probably dominated my sprees more than anything for a really long time. I mean, I've been arrested for I think 7 DWIs. I've been found guilty of 5 of them. I got 13 public intox. I mean, drinking was a big deal. Drinking got me in a lot of trouble, but methamphetamines put me on my knees. You know what I'm saying? So I quit using the needle. Obviously, I was doing this here and there. I had 3 great opportunities for employment. I went pipelining for a while. Where I'm from, I mean, there's a lot of old boys down there that do pipelining. Screwed that up. I was a superintendent of 13 subdivisions in central Arkansas on the heating and air side. Screwed that up with a DWI. Really, it wasn't a DWI, it was all the shenanigans that I pulled, and they used that DWI for the reason I thought. And then somehow one day some old boy come to Eureka Springs where I grew up, and I was bartending, and he asked me if I knew where to get some penny pills, and I just had so happened to have 200 in my pocket, and that got me a job climbing cell phone towers. That was the best job I ever had. I wish I could go back and do that sober. Dude, it would be just amazing, you know. But I'm honest with myself now, knowing that I can't go into that world, never work. You know what I mean? Fast forward a little bit. Grandpa and Grandma, my best friend gets murdered. My grandpa and grandma both died of cancer in about a year and a half, and that's what set me off on my next 4-year spree or bender, however you want to look at it. It progressed so quick on me, guys. You know, I was back on the needle within probably a couple months, and it was just nothing but junkie life. You know, I was that guy that would cruise down mobile patrol. If I knew where you lived, we did you. That guy. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and talk too much about what it was like. We'll go ahead and fast forward to my moment in the hospital when I was on my deathbed. The doctor come in and said, you have your blood is septic and you have MRSA in your knee. I woke up out of surgery. They said we did the best we could. Don't know if we're going to be able to keep the leg. We'll see what the next couple of days say with the antibiotics. All right. So I'm looking there. I'm laying in that bed. I'm looking up at the ceiling, and I'm just like, nobody wants me around. I've got warrants in 3 counties. I've got people looking for me because they gave me their money, and I wouldn't skip due. I skipped out right out on them. I had a lot of, I mean, there's just a lot weighed down on me in that moment in that hospital bed. And I was like, you know what? I always had a conception of a higher power because my grandparents were super religious. I just looked up and said, bro, you got my attention. What do I need to do? 2 days later, doctor come in and say, hey, look, you're going to keep that leg. I'm like, cool. He said, but you're not out of the water. Your blood's still bad. 2 more days. I wanted to forget it. I was watching Gold Rush and he come in and he's like, good news, that 4th antibiotic started working. So like, I've talked to people that had this similar thing happen to them. Jason Hodge was one of them. I know he won't mind me saying this or throw his name out there. But he had the same thing happen to him, and he was in the hospital for like 3 months. And those other people I talked to, they had that same thing with the blood being septic and all that. All of a sudden, I get out of it in 8 days. So I had to start thinking there might be something working there, right? But at the time, I didn't know what I was doing. I get out of the hospital. I didn't know where I was going to go. My friend that I hadn't seen in, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, she shows up at the hospital one day. Well, let me backtrack a little bit. The doctor said, look, we're going to be able to release you. And I'm like, when I stay one more night, I don't know where I'm going to go. And then that next day, my friend showed up, and I got to go stay with her. She said, come to my house. It was really weird because where her house was walking distance, like from here to Dollar General to the AA hall, where they did AA meetings. Something might be happening there, right? So I go to AA the whole time. I finally am like, all right, I gotta take care of these warrants, at least in Carroll County. I go to Carroll County Court. In Carroll County, if you show up for court, you stay in court all day long, you'll see it right at the end, right? So I did that. Boy, I was milking it too. I had the crutches. I was like, oh man, I'm all fucked up. I'm all messed up. So the judge ends up seeing me. He's like, so what's going on with you? And I told him, and he gave me some new court dates, man. And I went to my PO's office right after that. PO's like, man, you're going to have to do something. You're going to have to do something. I need an address. I need you working. I need you to be doing something. So I leave there, man. I'm just really bummed out because I'm like, dude, I have no idea where I'm gonna go. My mom doesn't want me. PO's up my ass. Just didn't know what I was gonna do. And I was sitting in the front of the grocery store there in Berryville, and all of a sudden this little old lady, not old, but little lady comes out, and she says, "Skip Mills, what are you doing sitting in front of the grocery store like a homeless person?" I said, "'Cause I'm homeless. I mean, it is what it is, right? I'm on crutches still." And I told her what was going on with me, and she said, "You know, my ex-husband went to a program up in Branson called CORE." She's like, "You should try it." He was one of those people that was a lost cause in Carroll County as well. His name's Bracy Sanders. Some of you might know him. So I'm like, man, I'm like, yeah, sign me up. I mean, I really at that moment I was like, that was my only choice, right? I'm sure some of you had this was your only choice here, right? Yeah? Maybe not? Yeah. Anyway, so I call him and I go to see my PO the next week, and I'm like, "Look, man, I found this program up in Branson. Can I go to it?" And he told me no. And I was like, man, like that really sucked. I was just like, I thought I had something figured out. So I keep going to AA there in Eureka Springs. I come to the PO's office again, because I was on weekly at the time, and he said, "Hey man, he's like, you can go to Branson. I forgot you're on probation. You're not on parole." And I come out that PO office and I told my mom, "Hey, Mom," he said, "I go to Branson." What do you think my mom did? Beelined it to CORE. Dropped me off in the parking lot and went deuces. You know what I mean? And that goes to show, like, you know, my mom was just happy I wasn't going to be around her, I think, more than anything, you know. So I get to CORE, man. I'll never forget the night that I freaking laid my head down at the Hawk House, in the cowboy room. Whoever's been at the Hawk House before, and I laid down. It was the first time I felt free in forever. I didn't have to run from anything. You know what I mean? Does anybody else experience that? Where it's just like, it's over. So, shorten this up a little bit. I started seeing people happy, man. This place, you know, and I started drinking the Kool-Aid, guys. You know what I mean? For real. What other choice did I have? I'm going to talk a lot about this in the way I teach this class. Is we have a decision. We stood at the turning point. What it says in the big book. And that turning point is, am I going to turn to a life that I've lived of alcohol and drug addiction, torture, or am I going to accept a spiritual basis of life? Some of you right now are teetering that right now. You know what I mean? So, a lot of things were suggested I do. I still this day have a ton of pride and ego. A lot of character defects, man. I'm not a perfect person by no means. There's times I wanted to leave. You know, it took me about 2 to 3 months really in that program to really grasp a hold of what kind of life I can have if I just do what's suggested of me in that big book. That's why that big book's so important to me. That's why I like to see how everybody in this class have it. Because it's a manual for life. It's designed for living. Alright? So with that being said, let's get that thing out. Let's turn to the title page, okay? Yeah, you got to tell your house right there.
I thought I was working.
Who's my strong readers in here? You strong readers? I'm going to have you read here in a second. If I ask you to read, be prepared for me to stop you abruptly. Okay? Abruptly. Did I say that word right? Abruptly. Listen, I'm going to go ahead and do a disclosure right now, guys. I can't spell very well, and a lot of my writing looks like Steve's writing because I can't spell. All right, so what does that big bold lettering there say?
Alcoholics.
Okay. Alcoholics Anonymous. I beg you, if you're a heroin addict, or a fentanyl addict, or a meth addict, please not shut your brain off. Keep an open mind that we're all the same. We all suffer from a disease of mind that includes our mind and our body, a hopeless state. Okay? Anybody in here feel hopeless? Sometimes. I'm still sober, man. There's times and things I struggle with. I mean, there's not going to be anybody in this program, the higher ups of this program won't tell you that, man, life kind of sucks sometimes. You know? All right, so let's go to page XB. I know that's switching on. I'm doing something different. I'm doing something different. All right, Julia, go to the bottom of that page. It says the spark that was declared to the AA group.
The spark that was declared to the first AA group was struck at Akron, Ohio in June 1935 during a talk between a New York stockbroker and an Akron physician. 6 months earlier, the broker had been relieved of his drug obsession by a sudden spiritual experience following a meeting with an alcoholic friend who had been in contact with the Oxford groups of that day. He had also been greatly helped by the late Dr. William D. Silkworth, a narcotic specialist in alcoholism, who is now counted no less than a medical saint by AA members, and whose story of the early days of our society appears in the next pages. From this doctor, the broker had learned the grave nature of alcoholism. Though he could not accept all the tenets of the Oxford groups, he was convinced of the need for moral inventory, confession of personality defects, restitution to those harmed, helpfulness to others, and the necessity of faith in and dependence upon God.
All right, stop there just for a second. Real quick, guys. The Oxford group was a group, non-denominational religious group back in the, I mean, I think they're still about now, but they have a whole different name. But their whole thing was not really necessarily religion, but a personal relationship with God. Okay? So just so everybody knows. I don't know if everybody knew that or not, but here you go. Stand up, Maria. I can barely hear you. Come on.
Right here?
Keep reading where you were. Yeah. Prior.
Prior to his journey to Akron, the broker had worked hard with many alcoholics on the theory that only an alcoholic can help an alcoholic.
Stop there for a second. That broker's who? Bill Wilson. Okay? Bill Wilson's sobriety date is 12/12/1934, and he died sober on January 24th, 1971. He had 37 years of sobriety. All right, let's keep going.
But he had succeeded only in keeping sober himself. The broker had gone to Akron on a business venture which had collapsed, leaving him greatly in fear that he might start drinking again. He suddenly realized that in order to save himself, he must carry his message to another alcoholic. The alcoholic turned out to be the Akron physician.
All right, stop there. Anybody know who that is? Dr. Bob Smith, right? Dr. Bob got sober on June 10th, 1935. Died 15 years later on 11/16 of 1950. 15 years of sobriety. Okay? When these two men met in 1935, that was considered the birth of AA. Okay? Let's keep going.
The physician had repeatedly tried spiritual means to resolve his alcoholic dilemma but failed. But when the broker gave him Dr. Silkworth's description of alcoholism and its hopelessness, the physician began to pursue the spiritual remedy for his malady with a willingness he had never before been able to muster. He sobered never to drink again up to the moment of his death in 1950. This seemed to prove that one alcoholic could affect another as no non-alcoholic could. It is also indicated that strenuous work, one alcoholic with another, was vital to permanent recovery. These two men set to work almost frantically upon alcoholics arriving in the ward of Akron City Hospital. Their very first case, a desperate one, recovered immediately and became AA number 3.
All right, stop there for a second. Has anybody ever seen the picture of Bill and Bob sitting next to a bed? Yeah? Okay, that picture is kind of like a big deal for AA because that's the man on the bed and his name was Bill Dotson. And look, he sobered June 26, 1935, and died on 9/17 of 1954 with 19 years of sobriety. So listen, let's look at that sobriety there just in the first 10 years. That's way before this book was even wrote. Something's working there, right? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Keep on going.
He never had another drink. This work at Akron continued through the summer of 1935. There were many failures, but there was an occasional heartening success. When the broker returned to New York in the fall of 1935, the first AA group had actually been formed, but no one realized it at the time. A second small group promptly took shape in New York to be followed in 1937 with the start of a third at Cleveland.
Okay, stop there. So we had 3 meetings by 1937, okay? One, the main one was Akron, Ohio, right? The second one was in New York, and then followed by that, there was one in Cleveland, Ohio, okay? All right, let's keep going.
Besides these, there were scattered alcoholics who had picked up the basic ideas in Akron or New York, who were trying to form groups in other cities. By late 1937, the numbers of members having substantial sobriety time behind them was sufficient to convince the membership that a new light had entered the dark world of the alcoholic. It was now time, the struggling groups thought, to place their message and unique experience before the world. This determination bore fruit in the spring of 1939 by the publication of this volume. The membership had then reached about 100 men and women.
All right, stop there, okay? Thank you for being patient with me on that. So we're just talking about this volume. So technically, what we're reading right now is the forward to the second edition, which was wrote in 1955, okay? But I figured it'd be nice to go a little history of AA. And it said by 1937, in those 3 groups alone, 100 men, almost, I don't think they have an exact count, I think they just rounded up, is what I think, but almost 100 men and women had recovered from this thing in 2 years. And we're talking about full recovery. All right? Keep on going, sweetie. You're doing great, thank you.
The fledgling society, which had been nameless, now began to be called Alcoholics Anonymous from the title of its own book. The flying blind period ended and AA entered a new phase of its pioneering time.
Okay, stop there and turn the page twice.
What page?
XX. So you just turn the page twice. You're going to go all the way to the middle where it says Alcoholics Anonymous is not a religious organization, okay?
Alcoholics Anonymous is not a religious organization. Neither does AA take any particular medical point of view, though we cooperate widely with the men of medicine as well as with the men of religion. Alcohol being no respecter of persons, we are an accurate cross-section of America.
All right, stop there just for a second. I had to look this no respecter of persons. That just didn't sound right to me. But what it is saying is alcohol treats people in the exact same way.
Right.
Right? It doesn't matter who. Heroin treats people the exact same way. Methamphetamines treat people the exact same way. Alcohol in 1930s is just as bad as it is now. Same things happen. Still no cure, right? Okay.
And in distant lands, the same democratic evening up process is now going on. By personal religious affiliation, we include Catholics, Protestants, Jews, Hindus, and a sprinkling of Muslims and Buddhists. More than 15% of us are women. At present, our membership is pyramiding at the rate of about 20% a year. So far, from the total problem of several million actual and potential alcoholics in the world, we have made only a scratch.
So stop there for a second. Think about that. It said at present. So we're looking, this was written in 1955. Right? It's the spark of AA is growing so much. In 1955, they're saying there's several million, the actually potential alcoholics in the world. There's 2 million people in the United States right now in long-term. That doesn't even barely scratch what it could be. But they, I mean, I don't want to say that they're fortune tellers or anything, but that's how much it's grown. It's a huge amount. We'll go get into some more numbers here in a minute. Keep on going, sweetie.
In all probability, we shall never be able to touch more than a fair fraction of the alcohol problem and all its ramifications. Upon therapy for the alcoholic himself, we surely have no monopoly. Yet it is our great hope that all those who have as yet found no answer may begin to find one in the pages of this book and will presently join us on the high road to a new freedom.
All right, so listen, guys. This book, this program, we say we don't have any monopoly on recovery because other people can recover other different ways. All it's saying is if you're anything like me and like Bill and Bob and the other Bill, you need this program. But some other people can find other ways. You know what I mean? Okay. And then the most important word in this whole thing, freedom. Anybody want some freedom?
Amen.
Does anybody want to have POs anymore? How about all them homies back home doing the same damn thing? Want some freedom from them? Yeah. There's a lot of freedom to be had. All you got to do is work the program as it suggests. All right, let's go back to the cover page. All right, so this cover page is the bottom. It says Alcoholics Anonymous World Service Incorporated, New York City, 2001. So now we're catapulted back into the 4th edition of the big book. It was published in 2001. It says the story of how many thousands of men and women have recovered from alcoholism. So I want the class to help me out. Anytime we hear the word recovered, recovery, or recover, we're going to scream it at Skip. Okay? I'm being serious. Y'all just yell it at me. While we're reading, you just say it, okay? Now here's the deal. There's 4 different definitions that I found for recovered. Recovered. Thank you. Hey. He's going for the gold star right there, right? All right, so listen. The first one that I found, and I just did this on my phone through Google, but I can relate the things that we're going to talk about tonight to every single one of these definitions. So the first one is to recover to a normal recovered. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so a normal state. Whatever normal was before we started doing drugs, I don't know. I started doing them way earlier. Other people might have a different deal, but good thing there's 3 more definitions, right? So the next one, it says to find or regain something stolen or lost. Man, I had a lot of things stolen from me because of my addiction. I lost a lot of people and a lot of things as well. Anybody relate with that one? Yeah. How about regain control of oneself's physical or mental state?
Yeah.
Man, that kind of hits it on the nail, huh? We got one more here, and it says to make up for loss in position or time. Where's all my mamas and daddies at? Got a lot of time lost with my kids, man. So the big book uses recovered, recovered, and recovery 60 times. Recovering only 2 times. Why do you think that is?
Because we're not always recovering.
Right, we do recover.
We do recover, absolutely. Why would I want to do something if I'm just going to be recovering the whole time? I don't like to go. All right, so everybody's broken arm thing. When I break my arm and I got a cast on, I'm recovering, right?
Recovering.
Okay, so when I take that cast off, what is it? My arm's recovered, right? I don't know. Everybody likes using that one. I don't like using it. Take the word out. But I'm just saying, the main thing that I'm trying to get y'all to see is that it doesn't say that I'm going to be recovering for the rest of my life. At some point in time, there's hope for me to be recovered. That's freedom to me. That's what we all want, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, get some Braveheart in here. You know what I'm saying? You might be able to take my, my freedom, but you'll never take my freedom. I don't know what it is. You may take my life, but you may never take my freedom. That's right. All right, so 4th edition, let's go to the preface XI.
Preface.
Preface.
Did you say XI, Skip?
Yes, sir. XI. Okay, start reading. Everybody ready?
Yeah.
All right, this Tori's gonna read for us.
This is the fourth edition of the book, Alcoholics Anonymous. The first edition appeared in April 1939, and in the following 16 years, more than 300,000 copies went into circulation. The second edition, published in 1955, reached a total of more than 1,150,500 copies. The third edition, which came off press in 1976, achieved a circulation of approximately 19,550,000 in all formats.
All right, stop there, Tori. As of October 14, 2019, over 37 million copies have been published. There we go, thank you.
How many?
37 million, okay? Now the rest of the forwards that if you keep going, we're not going to get into all of them, but they start telling you about the amount of groups that started growing every period of time, right? Well, right here in 2019, there was over 120,300 groups. Started with 3 groups. So it's 2022, so in 81 years, it's grown from 3 groups to 120,300. Did I say that right?
Nope. Say it again.
120,300, I don't know, something like that. Almost a quarter mil, okay? Almost a quarter mil. All right, there you go. Anyways, just showing the growth a little bit there. That's all that paragraph is doing. Showing like this.
Right.
This happened in 1935 in Dr. Bob's living room. They kept going with it. And between 1935 to 1939, somewhere in there, they said, you know what, we need to share this with everybody. And the only way you could get this book in that period of time is in the Sears and Roebuck catalog. Okay?
Sears Roebuck?
Sears and Roebuck. Is that how, did I say it right? Roadblock? I don't remember. I don't know. That's a good question. I didn't ask Steve that. He probably knows. Steve knows all that. But really, I mean, that's how they did it, man. And it just started with really a word of mouth kind of deal until the book got out there. People started reading the book. I mean, obviously one group would have a book. So it really had a huge growth in the program, just the book alone. Okay? Go ahead, Tori.
Because of this, it has become the basic text for our society and has helped such large numbers of alcoholic men and women to recover. There exists strong sentiment against any radical changes being made in it. Therefore, the first portion of this volume describing the AA recovery has been left largely untouched in the course of revision by revisions made for the second, third, and fourth editions. Their section called the Doctrine Opinion has been kept intact just as it was originally written in 1939 by the late Dr. William B. Silkworth, our society's great medical benefactor.
All right, that's it. All right, so there's some things I want to go over in these 2 little paragraphs. What is this thing? This is all brand new stuff to me. Actually, old. Let's just do this. All right, so at the beginning of that, this book has become the basic text. Who remembers having textbooks in school? Okay? All right, so the definition of a textbook is a book that transmits information from the author to the reader. So the primary author of this big book was Bill Wilson. And he was the first person to possess the 3 pieces of information that this book's going to give us. And I know you guys have all seen this a million times, but we're going to do what? We're going to identify what? The problem. Right. What's the next one?
Identify the solution.
What is the solution?
Number 5.
I think I'm doing good spelling. Huh? Oh, no. There we go. All right, and then how to see and live
In the solution.
in the solution. Okay? All right, so Bill's first person, as far as we know, possess all 3 pieces of information that we need to recover, right? Later, further down in the book, in that paragraph, it talks about how they hadn't changed anything. This book right here, I looked out and found, it's first 164 pages, okay? That's where the program of action is, if you want to recover from a hopeless state of mind and body. So they have not changed anything in the 164 pages in the last 83 years that this book's been being published. Okay? Original format.
After how many years?
83. Are you checking my math?
No, I was just, I didn't hear you. I didn't hear how many years you said.
Brad, I'm really happy you're here, bro.
Thanks, buddy.
I am.
Happy to be here.
There's a couple of you that are in here I didn't think I'd ever see alive again. Keep coming back though, don't you? That's what others do, right? Okay, let's go to page, actually I think you just turn the page. Forward to the first edition. Toby, you mind reading that, please?
We of Alcoholics Anonymous are more than 100 men and women who have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. To show other alcoholics precisely how we have recovered is the main purpose of this book. For then, we hope these pages will prove so convincing that no further authentication will be necessary. We think this account of our experiences will help everyone to better understand the alcoholic. Many do not comprehend that the alcoholic is a very sick person. And besides, we are sure that our way of living has its advantages for all.
All right, stop there. All right, so we've got something to say. We got three things that I want to point out. The first thing is, what did it say? Precisely how we what?
Recover.
From what?
Alcoholism.
Hopeless state of mind and body. We didn't even talk about alcoholism yet. We're just talking about hopeless state of mind and body. I'm trying to spell this word right. E-R-E-D-I-S-L-E-Y?
E-L-Y.
Whatever.
E-L-Y.
It works.
Presley.
Okay, so precisely how we have recovered from the main purpose of this book. A little bit further down, it says we think like this account of experience will help everyone, not just alcoholics, but everyone. That's including you drug addicts too. Okay, that's including mom that doesn't have no idea why you do what you do. Okay, and you go down for a little bit further. It says our way of living has advantages for all. Okay, that means everybody. That means your mama, your wife, your kids. Because if you get right, you go home, you get right with God, and you go home, you're sober. You don't think you're going to be a little bit more active in those people's lives? They get their dad back, they get their husband, they get their wife back, they get their kid back, whatever it may be. So everybody is going to be an advantage for everyone, okay? All right, let's go to page 20. A lot of jumping around, huh, guys? Yeah. Sorry, though. Go. You want to read for me, Tyler?
Sure, where do we start?
We're going to start. You may already have asked yourself.
All right. You may already have asked yourselves why it is that all of us became so very ill from drinking. Doubtless you are curious to discover how and why, in the face of expert opinion to the contrary, we have recovered from the hopeless condition of mind and body. If you are an alcoholic who wants to get over it, you may already be asking, what do I have to do? It is the purpose of this book to answer such questions specifically.
All right, stop there. So, if I want to recover from a hopeless state of mind and body, it's going to give me what?
Recovery.
Specific. I wish I could spell better. I grew up in Maryville, Hyundai. They don't do us very well in school down there, do they?
Specific.
Huh?
Yeah. Say it.
You guys know what it means.
Respectfully.
All right, so there. Look, man, it's told us twice. The purpose of this book is to give us precise, specific. We're going to find out what else is the main purpose of this book. So let's go to page 29 real quick. Yep.
Well, Skip, you're doing better than I could, and I went to Forsyth, so that ain't much better.
All right, there's not too much difference between Forsyth and Maryville. All right, I'll read this one. Further on, clear-cut directions are given showing how we recover. That's right. So we got clear-cut directions. Oh, God. Okay. Here's the deal. It says right here, these are followed by 42 personal experiences. Okay, those 42 personal experiences are in the back of the book of people's experience, strength, and hope after working the steps in the first 164 pages. The meat and potatoes of this program is in the first 164 pages. I can't express that to you guys enough. You know, the reason why I say that is because I get, you know, even when I was in early recovery and I've seen people come in here and they're like, page 417 says acceptance is the, what do they call it? Answer all my problems, right? And it's not, man. Maybe at that time, that guy's name was Dr. Paul. At that time, Dr. Paul had worked some steps and then he learned some acceptance that God gave him how to do it. I can't accept nothing. Still have trouble accepting things sometimes. You know, and I used to tell people all the time, it is what it is. I can't stand hearing that anymore, man. You know what I mean? I don't want it to be like that. So anyway, so this little fun thing I like to do here. You see this cake, guys? I know Lacey did it, but I'm going to do it right this time. Okay, so this cake has precise, specific, clear-cut directions on how to make it. Dude, this looks like a pretty good cake.
Let me see it.
All right, it's Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I'm telling you right now. This is what recovery looks like, guys. Anyway, so it tells me here, I don't know if I like this keyboard operation here. It looks pretty good. There you go. I'm over it. I got some room here. All right, so it tells me 1 cup of water. Right?
Good.
And it tells me what did it say? Half cup
Oil.
oil. Yep.
2 eggs, I guess.
3 eggs. We're going to cook it to, how long we want to cook it? It's different types of cooking.
Depends on what you need. I want to
30 minutes.
375 degrees
preheat.
for 28 to 33 minutes. All right. So I'm sure you guys see where we're going at with this. So if I only have 2 eggs, right, and I have no vegetable oil, if you roll like I roll, there ain't very good water around very often, you know what I'm saying? So we have a half cup of water and with no oil, and we're saying we're in a hurry. All right, 400 for 10 minutes.
Crank it up.
What am I going to get?
Some applesauce.
I mean, it's probably going to be like, I'm going to have to cook it again.
Bad batter.
I know it's kind of funny, these things right here, but man, this
You're gonna draw a cake.
listen, guys. I have to follow the directions of what this book says. Just like I gotta follow the directions if I want to have a fire-ass cake to eat, right? That looks really good. Who wants it? Oh!
Toby wants it.
She said please.
I'll make cookies when I get home.
You know what's funny? You know where I found that?
Yeah.
Out there in the boxes out there. I was like, crap, I forgot to buy cake. Anyways, but somebody, I think Mark Kleinfelder showed me that. A lot of you all probably don't know who he is. I just think that's a really good, you know, way of looking at it, man, because if I don't have the right ingredients, I'm not going to get the right thing that I'm trying to do, right?
And like steps too.
Huh?
You got to step.
Yeah, I think you could probably put the oil in first and be okay, but
Better.
You didn't preheat the oven, you might get a burnt cake.
you're right.
Even mix your ingredients.
Could have used metal instead of Pyrex.
Like leaving out batteries.
I mean, if you have any Pyrex around me, you don't want to use my cookware, I promise. Anyways, let's go back to page 20.
Do you bake?
you? No, Brady don't, listen man, Brady runs the restaurant. Where do you think I eat?
Fair enough.
All right, guys, let's go back. Who's reading? Tyler, keep on going right after specifically.
We shall. What page are we on? 20?
We shall tell you that we have, or we shall tell you what we have done. Before going into a detailed discussion, it may be well to summarize some points as we see them. How many times people have said to us, I can take it.
Stop right there for a second. I want you guys to feel these. I want you guys to think about times people said these things to you. Okay, go on, Tyler.
I can take it or leave it alone. Why can't he? Or why don't you drink like a gentleman or quit? That fellow can't handle his liquor. Why don't you try beer and wine? Lay off the hard stuff. His willpower must be weak. He can stop if he wanted to. She's such a sweet girl. I should think he'd stop for her sake. The doctor told him that if he ever drank again, it would kill him. But there he is all lit up again.
Stop there. Has anybody heard the things?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My favorite one was, I had two of them actually. One was like, I'm just gonna smoke dope on the weekends, okay? Okay, that one got me in a lot of trouble a lot of times. But my ultimate favorite one was like, I'm gonna go get this quarter pound, I'm gonna flip it. That one got me. But really, I mean, that's just a lie somebody tells me. But, you know, all these people, I remember growing up, while I was in high school and stuff, and I would be that guy that was up at 6 o'clock in the morning still drinking. You know what I mean? I was that guy, not trying to glorify, but I could do a lot of dope, man. You know what I mean? And other people were just blown away. And how I'm still alive. I'm blown away how I'm still alive. You know, I've literally done shots of dope trying to kill myself. I don't know if anybody else has been there, but man, it sucks looking at it, just you doing that whole thing, and you're like, man, I hope this is it. I hope this is it. All right, let's keep going.
Now these are commonplace observations on drinkers which we hear all the time. Back of them is a world of ignorance and misunderstanding. We see that these expressions refer to people whose reactions are very different from ours. Moderate drinkers have little trouble in giving up liquor entirely if they have a good reason for it. They can take it or leave it
All
alone.
right, stop there, Tyler. All right, so we've all been through this. We all know what all this is, but we're still going to talk about it. Who's in here new? Who's never seen a CSR class ever once? Congratulations, you made it. You two, what y'all think? What's your name? Nora, where you from? St. Louis? We gotta get fucked up. Huh?
What do I like in the one?
Yeah.
So meth mostly.
Meth?
All of it. Every bit of it.
Hell yeah.
What's your name? Sandy? Where you from?
I live in Batavia.
Batavia.
By Harrison.
By Harrison? Okay.
And Alpena,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
You know.
My fellow Arkansas.
And the Batavia Express.
Okay.
Yeah.
Omaha and all that.
Program.
And methamphetamines then? If you're from that part,
I
sure.
I love acid and meth and cocaine and
She likes to party.
ecstasy.
I like to
Alcohol sometimes. I like alcohol. Xanax.
So it's probably pretty safe to say you're probably not a normal or moderate drinker, huh? You take it or
Maybe
leave it?
sometimes.
Maybe.
In-
The only
in a
moderation
crowd.
I have is how much dope was going in my spoon. Right? Okay, so anyway, well, we're really happy to have you guys welcome here. Everybody give them a hand of applause. All right, we're gonna do the drinkers and then we're gonna go smoke, guys. All right?
So who's a moderate drinker?
All right, hold on. Well, there goes my recipe for destruction. All right, so moderate drinkers. All right, here's the deal. This is the only time we're going to hear them called moderate drinkers.
Or Monterey.
Yeah.
Moderate.
There you go.
Nora, normal, okay? These people, it says right in the book, take it,
Or leave it.
or leave it. But the main thing that we need to know about moderate and normal drinkers is they have
Control.
control.
What's that?
They
Okay.
can live without it. They don't need it.
These are the kind of people that you go over for Thanksgiving. You have some beers at their house, and you actually leave a 12-pack there, and you come back, and the 12-pack's still there.
They don't have our other.
Right, we're getting to that.
Yeah.
So here's the other deal. I use this, and my buddy told me I could, because it didn't really happen to me, but he knew this guy that he could go and sell dope to, and come back 3 months later, and you'd have the same 8 ball of dope. There'd be like a keener left in it.
Yeah, that's how I.
Okay? I've never met a freaking moderate tweaker, okay? But I guess they're out there. Alright? I don't know.
And function.
They function. I mean, I don't even know about, I mean, I can understand the drinking, but I don't know about the other drugs. But just because I don't know any of them, doesn't mean they don't exist, right? Okay. So let's go on to the next, Tyler.
Then we have a certain type of party drinker. He may have the habit badly enough to gradually impair him physically and mentally. It may cause him to die a few years before his time. If a sufficiently strong reason, ill health, falling in love, change of environment, or the warning of a doctor becomes operative, this man can also stop or moderate, although he may find it difficult and troublesome, and may even need medical attention.
All right, stop there. So it tells me right there that a sufficient reason, right? So we're going to do a hard drinker. Sufficient, be strong, reason to what? Stop or
Moderate.
moderate. Another one of them that's got what?
Control.
Okay.
Might be little, but you still got it.
But they got reason.
I mean, there's a whole deal. I mean, there's been this, this debate before that maybe like, the hard drinkers got the allergy, but not the obsession of the mind. I used to believe that for a long time, and then I got, you know what? The whole point of the real one is you lose all control altogether. You know what I'm saying? So what happens is this hard drinker goes out, gets a couple DWIs, gets maybe one DWI. His old lady says, "Hey, look, bro, if you don't stop, I'm going to leave you," and that dude stops. You know what I mean? Or I know people that have had, my stepdad, man, that dude drank and drank and drank. I could have swore he was a real one. Ended up having a freaking heart attack in a casino. What'd he do?
Quit.
He quit drinking. He has a beer every now and then. I go to his house and my brother lives with him, and they have this freaking monstrosity of a freaking liquor cabinet. You know what I mean? And it's completely full. And I swear that Fireball that I looked at last Christmas, and I just went and seen it, it was still there, and there's still the same amount of liquor. You know what I mean? So that puts it in respect that here's the deal. Have they done anything different in their life to change themselves? They didn't have to. They had control. The reason why we don't fight in the yard anymore drunk is because I'm not the one drunk. That was a huge wide awakening for me. So those folks, they have a sufficient reason to stop or to moderate. We're not, some of them stop altogether, but like my stepdad, he just moderates. Okay? What about
The real alcoholic. He may start off as a moderate drinker. He may or may not become a continuous hard drinker, but at some stage of his drinking career, he begins to lose all control of his liquor.
stop right there? Loses what?
All control
Okay, keep on going.
of his liquor consumption once he starts to drink. Here's the fellow who has been puzzling you, especially with lack of control.
Does what?
Lack of control.
Lacks control. All right, keep on going.
He does absurd and He does absurd, incredible, tragic things while drinking. He's a real Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He is seldom mildly intoxicated. He's always more or less insanely drunk. His disposition while drinking resembles his normal nature, but little. He may be one of the finest fellows in the world, yet let him drink for a day, and he frequently becomes disgustingly and even dangerously antisocial. He has a positive genius for getting tired at exactly the wrong moment, particularly when some important decision must be made or engagement kept. He's often perfectly sensible and well-balanced concerning everything except booze. But in that respect, he is incredibly dishonest and selfish. He often possesses special abilities, skills, and aptitudes, and has a promising career ahead of him. He uses his gifts to build up a bright outlook for his family and himself, and then pulls the structure down on his head by a senseless series of sprees.
All right, stop there just for a second, guys. This is what we're reading here. We're reading Bill W.'s description of himself, okay? And I relate with Bill W. a lot of things in his alcoholism with mine. I was that guy that could completely tear down everything that was good for me, step up and rebuild it even better. And I did that about 3 or 4 different times, and finally, people had enough of watching me rebuild my life, okay? That's the one thing I can relate with him more than anything. If you read Bill's story, chapter 1 in this big book, you read it, he'll tell you everything he did and everything he destroyed. Bill W. was really good at just messing things up, we'll put it that way. You know what I'm saying? He was really good at that. Just as good as any one of you in here. That's one thing, there's a lot of things all of us have in common, and that's one of the main things, is that a lot of us can rebuild. How many of you have rebuilt your life multiple times? There you go. All right, let's keep going. We're almost around the bend, guys. All right.
He is the fellow who goes to bed so intoxicated he ought to sleep around the clock. Yet early next morning he searches madly for the bottle he misplaced the night before.
Hey, hold on. Who's hid your dope before you went to sleep so you didn't get stolen from you? You don't know where it's at. There's still dope hidden all over Carroll County that I hid. I'm being serious. That was the thing I did, man. I had to freaking. I mean, you're my alcoholic in here, right? Have you hid bottles?
Yeah, there's been a time or two where well, hell, I probably don't remember either. I probably just thought they were empty.
I've hid a lot of things and lost them. I'm sure people have found them and they've been like, that Skip Mills. You know what I'm saying? All right, keep on.
If he can afford it, he may have liquor concealed all over his house to be certain no one gets his entire supply away from him to throw down the waste pile. As matters grow worse, he begins to use a combination of high-powered sedative and liquor to quiet his nerves so he can go to work. Then comes the day when he simply cannot make it and gets drunk all over again. Perhaps he goes to a doctor who gives him morphine or some sedative with which to taper off. Then he begins to appear at hospitals and sanitariums. This is by no means a comprehensive picture of the true alcoholic, as our behavior patterns may vary. But this description should identify the problem.
All right, real quick, guys. Who here? Where's my meth addicts? Raise your hand, okay? How many of you said, you know what, I'm just going to go drink, I'm going to put meth down?
I did.
How many of you did that work for you? Right? How many of you, where's my freaking opiate addicts at? All right? How many of you said, you know what, I'm going to do methamphetamines instead?
Ended up doing both.
How well did that work out? So here's the deal. This is what this is saying right here. It's like, again, if you go read Bill's story, he talks about this. But the thing is he was given sedatives to get off alcohol, and they sent him home. And guess what he did? He had that keyed into like the alcoholic mind and said, you know what, I bet I get even more messed up on this and that. That's right. So, you know, I used to not be a huge advocate for MAT, medical assisted treatment, because I don't believe in giving people drugs to get off drugs. But my mind's changed since I worked at the Civic Center. You know, although listen, the thing about it is, it's not our answer. That complete absence is what we teach here, and I believe that 100%. But if that MAT, that's Suboxone or whatever, is used as a tool to get you off, and then there's an off ramp to get you off of it, you don't continue. But the thing is while people are on Suboxone, they're not dying, man. That's called harm reduction. So, I'm not saying go get Suboxone. If you're not on Suboxone now, you don't need to be on. Okay? But I'm just saying that science hasn't done anything, the medical field hasn't done anything to cure this thing yet, and it's not going to. Not yet, anyways.
Keep somebody alive long enough till something clicks. That's all.
Absolutely. I'm at, like you said, guys, we're going to go smoke, but I'm telling you right now, I'm just going to stop right there. Let's go smoke. This is chapter 2. It's called There is a Solution. Did it say there is many solutions? A solution. As in plural, right? No, singular. Can't spell. Don't know my adjectives from my nouns. Anyway. Alright guys, so we of Alcoholics Anonymous know thousands of men and women who are just as hopeless as Bill. So I pointed out earlier that whole Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde on page 20, I think it's 22, 21 and 22, and that was the description of himself. And the reason why he did the description of himself is because why? Anybody here tell me?
Relate to others.
Well, we can only
Share our own personal experience.
That's right. I can't say Brandon's an alcoholic, okay? I can't say Tracy's an alcoholic. I can't say Tori's an alcoholic, although I'm pretty confident to know that Tori's an alcoholic.
I know Tracy is.
All right, so here's the deal. So he did a description of himself, and he says this isn't the, what exactly what he say? Let me go back to it real quick. It says, this is by no means is a comprehensive picture. The true alcoholics, our behavior patterns vary. And they do, man. A lot of us do different things while we're drunk. When I was about 6 months sober, I was like, man, there ain't no way in hell I'm ever going to float down the river without a cold beer. You know, I just couldn't wrap my mind around it. You know, and I had a good friend, he's like, well, why are you even thinking about in the future like that anyway? Aren't you supposed to be living one day at a time? And that's what I started doing, and that changed everything for me, okay? So, nearly all have what?
Recovered.
Oh, you guys can do better than that. Everybody what? Recovered. That's what I'm talking about. They have solved the drink problem. We are average Americans, all sections of the country, and many of its occupations are represented, as well as many political, economic, social, religious backgrounds. So that tells me it doesn't matter where you come from, alcohol does not care, right? Heroin does not care. Methamphetamines does not care. We are people who normally would not mix. Boy, isn't that saying all right now in here. Huh? Isn't there like this untalked about war between tweakers and opiate addicts? You know what I'm saying? Why do I want to hang out with somebody that wants to drool on themselves and I want to go tear a chainsaw apart? You know what I mean? Right? So we're people that normally wouldn't mix. That's the good thing about AA. Is when you go to that meeting, you're all equals. Every single one of us. Because what are we all walking in there with? We're going to talk about it here, but we're all walking in with the same problem, right? And we're all going to leave, hopefully, with the same solution. All right? But there exists among a fellowship a friendliness and understanding which is indescribably wonderful. We are like the passengers of a great liner the moment after rescue from shipwreck, when the camaraderie and joyousness and democracy pervade the vessel from steerage to captain's table. You know, it's really funny, Lacey's the one that told me what that meant. The steerage and captain's table. The steerage is where all the freaking, I don't want to say slave, but real low-class people, that's where they got to stay. Obviously, the captain's table is probably the highest point that you can be at in one of these boats, right? So wherever, from there to there, the same problem, just like the Titanic, right? Right? I mean, be serious. Okay. Unlike the feelings of the ship's passengers, however, our joy and escape from disaster does not subside as we go our individual ways. That whole paragraph is talking about the fellowship, and at the end of it, it's telling you the fellowship will not keep you sober. Once you leave, once everybody's rescued on that shipwreck, we all go our own ways, right? That's what happens when we leave the meetings. The fellowship is not enough. Okay? It says the feeling of it shared a common peril. Okay? So peril is hazard, disaster. I like to relate it to problem. If I've got a peril, I've probably got a problem. You know what I'm saying? So there it is. It tells me right there that we all have a common peril. One element in the powerful cement which binds us. But that in itself would never have held us together as we are now joined. The tremendous fact for every one of us is that we have discovered a
Common solution.
A way out.
all right, common solution. This class is called Common Solution Recovery. Where it come from? I'm sure everybody already knew that. And we have a way out. That's where our way out workshop comes from as well. On which we can absolutely agree, upon which we can join in brotherly and harmonious action. This is the great news. This book carries for those who suffer from alcoholism. Now we're talking about alcoholism. Okay? Okay. Turn the page.
Okay.
Or drug addiction.
Yeah.
Drug addiction, whatever it is. I really hope that there's people in this room right now that aren't getting hung up on the whole alcoholism. You guys are keeping your minds open to what this program can do for you. I forgot to tell this at the beginning, but there are over 60 different 12-step programs in the world today. Okay, all the way from not common solution, but separate recovery. There's 12-step program for NA, overeaters, Sex Anonymous, Gamblers Anonymous. There are family counseling that uses the 12-step. It all started with these though. Huh? Gadget holics. Gadgets. People are addicted to buying gadgets. People are addicted to going into freaking stores and stealing stuff. Even though they have all the money in the world to pay for it, but they have to go in and steal. There's all kinds of different disorders, but the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous set the foundation for the 12-step program. Okay? An illness of this sort, and we have come to believe it is an illness. We're going to find out why it's an illness, okay? It's also a progressive illness. I'm going to show you the progressiveness of it, okay? We're talking about some of us might have started off as a moderate drinker, right? We had some control. And at some point, our bodies changed, right? We became that hard drinker. And then there's this imaginary line that goes right through here that we cross into being a real one. And unfortunately, so late before we know that we've crossed that line. That's the progression of it. I always really liked, Buddy used to holler at us before about, you know, your addiction's out there in the freaking parking lot doing push-ups, man. He's just waiting for you. Waiting for you. I want to pick on a couple people. Cody, tell me about it. How progressive is it with you? I mean, not real long, but just say.
High school, it was weekend parties. After high school, it started to be, when I was doing welding, it became an everyday thing after work with my boss. And then at one point, that wasn't enough with my boss, so I was drinking more than him. And then it became somewhere in there, it became an all-day ordeal, and I couldn't stop.
What about leaving the Simmering Center is what I want to hear about.
And then after seeing all this, and every time I leave now, it starts off right where I left off, but it's that doesn't even describe it. It's 10 times worse. It's like I can't get it fast enough or hard enough in my system.
Tori?
Well, it started with alcohol, and then it led to coke, and then, this last go around, I was on a needle, and I was using heroin and meth, so.
Tom?
Well, I've never had control really.
But your relapses are always so much worse, right?
It goes right back to the end. So, but
Yeah. We all know what it looks like. I mean, I don't think there's anybody probably in here that hasn't got at least one relapse under their belt, right? Is that fair to say? And when we went back out there, can you think about that one relapse or the last relapse? And like, their shit just got way out of control,
That quick.
super freaking quick, right?
That fast.
Yeah, Sabrina, you're one of them too, aren't you? Tell us about it.
It's okay, I take a couple shots.
Yep.
And then they say, I'm running to the gas station to get 4 from this gas station, 4 from that gas station until I'm in the hospital every time.
Right.
And it only took just a few days.
Some of us only takes us a couple hours.
Yeah.
Some of us go out there and think we can still do the same amount of heroin we were doing when we got here.
I ended up dying in dates.
There's 3 people on that wall back there right now that aren't here anymore. And I just recently lost a really good friend of mine a couple of days ago. It just sucks, man. It really does. I don't want any of you to be in here, but the reality of it, someone in this room is probably not going to be here this time next year. That's just the reality. I don't mean to get real morbid or really dark, but that's just it, man. We're not going to make it if you do not make the decision to work these steps in our life.
I just got a call before I got in here, buddy of mine, they're pulling the plug on
Right.
brain dead.
Out there doing push-ups, folks. Remember that. Okay? All right, so it involves those about us in a way no other human sickness can. If a person has cancer, all are sorry for him and no one is angry or hurt, but not so with the alcoholic illness. For with it goes annihilation of all things worthwhile in life. It engulfs all whose lives touch the sufferers. It brings misunderstanding, fierce resentment, financial insecurity, disgusted friends, employers, warped lives, and blameless children, sad wives, and parents. Anyone can increase the list. We hope that this volume, we're talking about our textbook, okay, what we're looking at right now, will inform and comfort those who are or who may be affected. So it's telling me, it's got information for me, and it's got information for the people that are around me as well. Okay? There are many highly competent psychiatrists who have dealt with us have found it sometimes impossible to persuade an alcoholic to discuss his situation without reserve. Strangely enough, wives, parents, intimate friends, and usually find us more unapproachable than do the psychiatrists or the doctors. But the ex-problem maker who has found this solution, who is properly armed with the facts about himself, can generally win the entire confidence of another alcoholic in a few hours. Until such an understanding is reached, little or nothing can be accomplished. I've had a counselor in a rehab. I literally said, "What was your drug of choice?" He said, "Oh, well, I'm not a drug addict."
why are you here?
Anybody have that? You know what I mean? Here's the deal. I'm going to go back to the beginning when we were talking about the history of AA, how it started. That was Bob's deal, too. He had people talk to him. He had, he had his own conceptions of a higher power, religion, and everything. And he tried every single thing he could. He tried to go talk to his spiritual advisor. He tried to talk. No one understood what he was talking about. And then here come Bill. Some broker from freaking New York. We sat down within 2 hours. Bob was sold on the whole thing. And that's because Bill knew what he was talking about. We all in here can be that guiding light for somebody. All right? You can't. I know that I'm not the most approachable person sometimes, and I can be kind of an asshole. But there's people in this room that I have really, really good relationships with because I'm that asshole. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has something they can bring to the plate to help somebody in here. And that's that. Okay? Let's go to the doctor's opinion. Let's find out why the illness, huh? Yeah, XXD, that's right. Who's your book, bro?
In the truck.
Okay. I about just fell over and died. We of Alcoholics Anonymous believe that the reader will be interested in the medical estimate of the what plan of recovery. Okay, so that's the one we don't want to say, right? So is that one we want to say? Recovery is the one we don't want to say, right? Described in this book. All right, so real quick, let me ask y'all a question. Why do you think it'd be important for a doctor's opinion to be in this book?
People agree with them.
And the credibility, validation, that's
He's
right.
legit, bro.
Yeah. So back in this time era, the most trusted people were priests or pastors, however you want to look at it, doctors, sorry to say, lawyers. Okay? What's up, bro? Here's the deal about doctors and us. I don't feel like saying, Phil, tell us why doctors don't like us.
Well, because we don't pay them.
Yeah.
We lie to them, and they can't fix us.
That's right. We lie to them. We don't pay them. It's got to be frustrating to a doctor not be able to fix a patient, right? So why would they want to mess with us?
No fun.
No fun. I've walked into hospitals. Before that infection that I got in my knee and put me in the hospital, I had multiple other infections. And I'd walk in there, and it was pretty obvious that I was a junkie. And these people would look at me like I was a leper. But what makes me want to go talk to a doctor about what's really going on with me? You know what I mean? If I'm going to be judged for it, why would we want to do that? Fortunately for us, there was this man called Dr. William D. Silkworth, and he worked at the Towns Hospital in Manhattan, New York, which was the biggest hospital for research and alcohol. It's going to say it here in a minute, I'm kind of jumping ahead a little quick, but this man, before he died, he worked with 20,000 different alcoholics or drug addicts in the time that he worked at this hospital. This is the hospital where Bill was given some information that we're going to learn right now, okay? Well-known doctor and chief physician nationally. Convincing testimony must surely come from the medical men who have had experience with the sufferings of our members and have witnessed our return to health. Well-known doctor, chief physician at a nationally prominent hospital, specialized in drug and alcoholic and what?
Drug addiction.
So what kind of drugs do you think they had back then?
Drugs.
I mean, they had the good stuff, right? I mean, there was cocaine, there was opiate, there was heroin. They had some pretty hardcore drugs there back then. Okay? A lot of those drugs were used for medical drugs to help people. I mean, you literally could go to the Five and Dime or the whatever and get freaking cocaine in a liquid form. You know what I mean?
The real
Or
life
morphine. Yeah. So, there was a drug addiction problem at that time too. But it seemed like alcoholism was the biggest one at the time. You know what I mean? To whom it may concern, I specialized in treatment of alcoholism for many years. In late 1934, I attended a patient, which is Bill Wilson, who, though he had been a competent businessman of good earning capacity, was an alcoholic at the time I had come to regard hopeless. In the course of his third treatment, he acquired certain ideas concerning a possible means of recovery. As part of his rehabilitation, he commenced to present his conceptions to other alcoholics, impressing upon them that they must do likewise with still others. So there's that word commenced. We had commencement last night, right? Who actually knows what commencement stands for?
Let's start sort of
That's right. To move forward. Not to graduate. Not that you got this thing licked. To move forward. Okay? This has become the basis of a rapidly growing fellowship of these men and their families. This man and over 100 others appear to have recovered. I personally know scores of cases who were of the type with whom other methods have failed completely. These facts appear extreme medical importance because of the extraordinary possibilities of growth inherent in this group. They mark a new epoch in the annals of alcoholism. So epoch means the beginning of a distinct period in the history of someone or something. So this whole book being printed, little did they know how big it would become. So pretty much Dr. Silkworth called it. You know what I'm saying? And it's in writing right there. He said it's going to be something one of these days. And I think the main reason why Silkworth, and we're going to read a little bit more, but I just want to point this out. The main reason Silkworth wanted to get out there and say, look, man, I've done everything that my medical training can do, and I have not fixed one of these people. They used the belladonna. I don't really know a lot about it, but I guess it was some kind of pill, hydrotherapy, shock therapy. They did all kinds of things, trying to just get the freaking, the want to drink out of people's heads. It just never worked, okay? So these men may well have the remedy for thousands of such situations. You may rely absolutely on anything they say about themselves. He's confirming what I just said. I don't know how to fix them, but something's happening with what these people are doing. Okay? The physician who at our request gave us this letter has been kind enough to enlarge upon his views in another statement which follows. In this statement, he confirms that we who have suffered alcoholic torture must believe that the body of the alcoholic is quite abnormal as the mind. And if you don't have much belief highlighted in the book, you probably should get it, because if you don't believe that your body, we're going to find out what, but if you don't believe that your body is abnormal, if you have a different body than the moderate, normal drinker, if your body's different from the hard drinker, I guess go out there and get you some more. Because I had to believe this. I didn't believe it. Listen, we're about to go through the cycle, but you know they talk about this allergy. That whole allergy thing did not really register until I was like 4 months sober. Like, it just clicked one day. I don't know why I blocked it out. You know what I mean? But I did. So it is not to satisfy us to be told that we cannot control our drinking just because we are maladjusted to life, that we were full flight from reality, we were outright mental defectives. These things were true to some extent, in fact, to be considerable extent with some of us. But we are sure that our bodies were sickened as well. In our belief, any picture of the alcoholic which leaves out the physical factor is incomplete. The doctor's theory that we have an allergy to alcohol interests us. There it is. All right, guys. Who's got, listen, now don't scream it all at me at once, okay?
Amoxicillin.
All right. Brandon, is that you that said that? Okay. So look, Brandon, I'm just going to do this, okay? What happens?
Well, I get bright red and itchy, my throat swells shut.
Okay, where's you swell?
It's
Oh, yeah.
Body. You with a Y or an I?
Why? Wow, Skip. I don't know you since 2019, you know it's not my name.
Peanuts, what happens to you?
My throat swells shut.
swell.
What about you, guys?
No.
Who else got one?
Penicillin.
Hold on.
Sulfa?
What is it?
Sulfa?
Sulfa drugs.
Yeah, sulfa.
Okay.
S-U-L-F-A.
Julia, did I spell that right? Whatever.
Yeah.
We're gonna put stuff. What happens?
I get a rash.
You get a rash?
Yeah.
Okay. Who else? What's up, Brad?
Boxing, some muscle relaxer.
Okay. Brad? Muscle relaxer, what is that, huh? Oh, you think that's what
Muscle
you do?
works.
That's all right. What happens to you, Brad?
Eyes, my throat swells.
I'm allergic to alcohol.
Not yet. Anybody else? What's up, dude?
Australian gold tan lotion.
Nice.
ATL.
TikTok.
Tan. What happens to you when you tan, bro?
Real bright red.
You go red instead of brown? Okay.
Should just put TikTok up there.
You're dropping everybody else. Huh?
Shellfish.
Shellfish, that's a really good one. That's a really good one. All right, so shell. Wait, what's your name, sweetheart?
I don't know. It's Sabrina, Sabrina.
No, I thought she said it.
No, Sabrina.
Sabrina did? No. Well, that's your name, Sabrina. Shell, fish, what happened, Sabrina?
My throat's still shut.
Okay. All right, here's the deal. Tracy, do you have an allergy to amoxicillin? Can you take amoxicillin without swelling up? Yeah? Tori? How about peanuts? Can you eat peanuts? Yeah? So, you don't have a manifestation or symptom of your throat swelling up? No? Felton? I don't even know what that is. Are you allergic to that? Sulfa?
Sulfa, yeah.
You are?
What?
You allergic to it? So you can take it without having a rash?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the contact sauce?
Okay. Who else you gonna do? Toby? Can you take muscle relaxers? Non-narcotic muscle relaxers? You don't break out in hives? Bitch? Can you use what is it called?
Australian gold.
Australian gold tan lotion? You love it? You lather up in it, and what happens, dude? You get savage, right? Yeah, okay. All right, so he don't turn red. It's so stupid. Tyler, can you eat shellfish?
No.
What happens?
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I can eat it. It's
You
fine.
can eat it just fine, right? So it's probably pretty fair to say that most of the things that are up here, not a good group of us are probably not allergic to it, right? Because here's the thing, if you would have been like, hey, I'm allergic, and when I said who's got an allergy, you would have raised your hand and probably said one of these, right? So that's what makes us different than those ones. Right? Moderate drinker doesn't have the allergy. Okay? Hard drinker doesn't have the allergy. Alright? Let's keep reading. As layman in our opinion, as soundness may of course means little, but the ex-problem drinker, we can say that his explanation makes good sense. It explains many things for which we cannot otherwise account. As he has then a better chance of understanding. Oh wait, what am I doing? Sorry. Yeah. Go to the next page right here. Okay. See, it says the subject right next door. Right next page.
The small letter.
Right here. It says the subject presented in this book seems to me to be of paramount importance to those afflicted with alcohol addiction. So the subject they're talking about is allergy, okay? And paramount means more important than anything else. Why do you think it's more important than anything else?
Because it's gonna save somebody's life.
Okay, so we're gonna find out why it's more important than anything else, okay, right now. Turn the page. One page over. It says, we believe, and so suggested a few years ago, that the action of the alcoholic on these chronic alcoholics is a manifestation of an allergy. We got the allergy, we know what happens, right? Okay. That the phenomenon craving is limited to this class. So what class are they talking about? Better question, what class are we not talking about?
Hard drinker, moderate.
That's right. Normal drinkers and hard drinkers, okay? I kind of like this thing, man.
I know it's
Kind of fun. All right. Never occurs in the average temperate drinker. These allergic types can never safely use alcohol in any form at all, and having once formed a habit, found that they can not break it. Once having lost their self-confidence, their reliance upon things human, their problems pile up on them and become astonishingly difficult. All right, guys. So it just called it a manifestation. And we talked about the manifestation. The manifestation is just how it appears to the world. You can use symptoms. That's what I like, symptoms or side effects, whatever it is. Don't get caught up on the big words, okay? So we talked about who had the, Brandon had the amoxicillin. So Brandon as a person takes amoxicillin, and the manifestation of his allergy is? Okay. So the physical manifestation for us, if you're anything like me, and you're not one of the moderate drinkers, and you're not a hard drinker, it tells me the first drink or drug, right? And once I put that in my body, what happens? Okay, phenomenon of craving, right? Okay, let me tell y'all something. Again, we're in 2022. In 1939, it was a phenomenon. The reason why it was a phenomenon, because the definition of phenomenon is an unexplained occurrence. They didn't know why that happened when they put alcohol in their body. They didn't know what happens when we put freaking meth in our body. They didn't know what happens when we put heroin in our body. But they do now. And it's called, so it's really easy. Phenomenon craving, we're going to call it, what we call it now, we call it physical craving.
Physical craving.
Okay, so really easy. I'm gonna go through all of them, but if I take a drink of tequila, one shot, as soon as it goes in my body starts metabolizing it, and it creates a physical craving. Want more, more, more. Okay, that's scientific proof, guys. Science has helped us understand. It just hasn't found a cure. Okay, shit. So, it gets bigger and bigger, right? Okay? And it just gets bigger and bigger. I'm going to tell you this right now. I do a lot of fishing. Bobby came out and fished with me today.
Appreciate you.
Yeah? And I'll tell you what, Bobby, it'd be nice to sit there and just smoke a joint, wouldn't it? It'd be a perfect opportunity to do that, right? But what happens when you smoke a joint? I get thirsty. And I like cold Coronas when I'm fishing. Pretty much when I'm doing anything. Okay? But there's going to be some point in time where I'm going to drink too many of them Coronas. And I'm going to be hungover. And what's the best cure for a hangover, folks? What is it? Whatever I can get. It's going to help me out. You know, mine was hydrocodones, man. I had a script for hydrocodones.
Oh, shit.
You know what I'm saying? I'd eat them. And then when the hydrocodones didn't work, guess what I would do?
Meth.
I'd find a meth. I'd start smoking it, but then all of a sudden the smoking didn't work, and what else is next?
Then you was boofing.
I was boofing. That's right.
Hell yeah.
I'm so glad you're here, Brad. All right, so we understanding? So here's the deal. I'm running out of time, but we're going to keep going. Look, you're boofing. It's really important to understand this allergy, guys. Okay? Really important. I've worked with quite a few people on this stuff, dude. I've talked to a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people. I'm very blessed to get the opportunity to carry this message to other places. And here's the deal. If there's anything that you take from this tonight, I want you to understand this. Okay? Because the rest of this cycle that we're going to talk about does not matter if this doesn't happen. Okay? I don't think we talk about the allergy enough around here.
Yeah.
Okay? I might have to just take the rest of the time to talk about it because it's super important, guys. Because here's the thing. Once I drink and I do drugs, I don't care about any of you. I don't care about my kids. I don't care about anything else. I don't care what the judge says. I don't give a shit about nothing but getting high. So why would I beat myself up for all those years of doing that, all those years bailing on my kids, and bailing on my parents, and losing the jobs that I lost? Well, you know why? Because I didn't stand a chance to begin with it. Now, some of us are born with this allergy, and some of us, it just develops over time. I'm not a scientist, I don't get it, but I feel really confident that I was born with it, and I didn't stand a chance from the day I popped out. It was just a matter of time before I started drinking. And I hope some of you. So, it's really important to me, and I hope you guys understand this. The first drink or drug, the allergy happens. We do what? What happens?
It grows bigger and bigger.
You guys understand that? I don't care what it is.
Drinking or getting high.
I'm gonna pick on Dana a little bit real quick. I had a real like epiphany moment when I met Dana. I knew her for a little bit over at Core, and then I heard she got kicked out. I heard she got kicked out because of why?
Because I heard you get a buzz on mouthwash. And I thought I could get away with it. But it produced a craving for more. It set off an allergy.
Because I have a lot of problems with my back nowadays.
And I was drinking a bottle of vodka.
I had a lot of problems with my back nowadays. I'm starting to get scared. Okay? I'm starting to get scared because I don't want to live a freaking life full of pain and everything else. You know, and I don't mean to say that there's certain people I see that come in this place and they're just miserable with pain. I don't want to be that, man. You know what I mean? But I'm so scared to death to even chance doing anything with any kind of pain management. It scares the shit out of me. You know why? Because I believe this. It says on the page before, it says, alcoholic confirms that we who suffered alcoholic torture must believe what? That you have the allergy. If you don't believe that, go get you some more. I hope you don't die. And whoever's never seen this cycle, whoever does go back out and you're thinking about how big of an asshole I am for explaining that, you're welcome. Okay? I'm just saying, there's people that come back here and you're like, girl, I got high, and I would tell my people where I'm at in the cycle. You know what I'm saying? And other people will say, Skip, I was out there and I was thinking about you doing class, and I was like, man, I really wish that dude would have never shown me what this cycle is about. Men and women drink essentially because they like the effects produced by alcohol. Man, who in here likes Mountain Dew? Have any of y'all went and drank a full 30-pack in one night just because you like the way it tastes? No. Brad, I might believe that about you. Why do we drink 30 packs of beer in one night? Because we like the effect that it produces, right? Okay.
Like to pee.
Like a blackout, to not remember anything.
Yeah.
Skip,
This,
I was in jail with Brad back in like years ago.
thanks, Brad, for sharing. The sensation is so elusive that while they admit it is injurious, they cannot after time differentiate the true from the false. Listen, this is the deal with that, the true from the false. I was so far in my addiction that my normal truth, the way I live my life, was to get high, go hit licks, get high, go sell dope, get high, find some little girl and turn her out.
Yep.
I mean, that was normal life. I'm not, you're laughing back to Jessica, but that was it. That's how I lived my life. To them, their alcoholic life seems the only normal one. What you guys? Brandon, dude. I'm just saying, man, that was it. You guys are laughing, but you might not have been right next to me, but you were in this state doing it. Sure enough, right? Okay. It's because I'm a little bit more transparent, y'all gonna laugh at me. They are restless, irritable, and discontented. When I drink that Corona, okay, it's only a temporary fix for me because I really want methamphetamines. Listen, guys, I'll be honest with you right now. If I could do methamphetamines today without any consequences, I would probably still be doing methamphetamines, okay?
Yeah.
All right? But there's consequences. Any other drug I do, I get to fix this, I'm even more restless, irritable, and discontent after it wears off because I'm not getting what I want. Okay? I'm sure you opiate addicts feel me on that when it comes to doing meth. Okay? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or when you're doing Xanax.
No.
You know, it's just a lot of different things that, I mean, you guys know what makes you happy and what, I don't know what makes you all happy, okay? Just know that methamphetamine makes me happy, okay? All right, so I get restless, irritable, discontent, right? This, unless they can, again, experience the sense of ease and comfort. What is my solution when I'm that?
Get a drug or a drink,
That's absolutely right, bro. And what happens when I drink?
allergy kicks in, and you want more and more and more.
Right.
Or do you want your other, or you want what you're used to. Like I did it for 9 years. When my son was born, I quit doing dope because I wanted a better life for my kid. I didn't want to send my kids through the same thing I went through, losing my parents and stuff. I didn't want my kids to do that. So I quit for 9 years. I white knuckled it and went to drinking and got a full-time job. But after 9 years, I relapsed.
Okay, why are you here, bro?
Because, I mean, for
Yeah, it's for real. It's waiting. It's
Drinking.
waiting. It's waiting. Just because we think. There's some people in here right now that think they're right here. This is their sufficient reason to stop. Right? I mean, you don't have to raise your hand or anything, but I know you're in here. Okay? Which comes at once by taking a few drinks, which they see others taking with impunity. That makes me mad too.
Without consequence.
Without consequence. There's people out there that drink without consequence.
Bullshit.
I can't stand it. Yeah.
Lucky bastard.
So they're gonna have a resentment against those people, so meaning I'm what? Restless, irritable, and discontent. Never record it if you can't. If I can't say it, you can't say it.
You thought that was
Okay.
I thought that's what he was gonna say.
I was going there, but yeah. Anyways, let's keep going. After they have succumbed to the desire. What does succumb mean? Surrender.
Surrender.
Okay? This is where I teach this cycle just a little bit different, okay?
Get it, girl.
I changed it.
DESIRE.
Thank you. Took it off that bullshit. You feel it? Yeah, I got it.
Surrender to
All right, hold on. Give me 5 more minutes, guys. 5 more minutes, okay? Surrender to the desire again that so many do. Okay, listen. The desire is a feeling of wanting something more than anything. Remember, it's a feeling. Okay, and we're going to keep moving on. That's what the desire is. So, if I'm restless, irritable, discontent, I'm desiring what? Easy comfort. And where do I find that easy comfort?
In your children.
And what happens when I do that? Bang, boom, bang, bang, right? And the phenomenon of craving develops. They pass through the well-known stages of the spree. Okay. We all know what these look like, right?
Oh, yeah.
Mine's a divorce. Right? Mine's charges, jail.
Yeah.
Friends turning their body. I mean, like, there was one, I think there was some girl talking at the AA meeting the other night. She was talking about how she was so heartbroken about having to cut herself off from all of her friends. And I'm like, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. You know what I mean? And, you know, I'm telling you right now, some of those friends that stopped talking to me, they did me a big favor. So, this spree, well-known stages, I like to call sufficient amount misery. Or, what it says in the big book, the gift of desperation. Okay? But wait, there's more. Okay? The only thing that ever stopped me on a spree was handcuffs.
Yeah.
Did anybody else had a spree stop because they did something other than handcuffs?
Yeah.
What was it?
Psych unit.
Mental institution.
Mental institution?
Yeah, can't get to it.
OD. That's what I'm getting. I was gonna get it. What about you, bud?
Ask to go to church.
Asked to go to church?
I was drunk after all.
That stopped your spree? Decent. All right. Okay, so those are all well, that's okay. So me, for myself, guys, when I get arrested, I'm sitting in booking, and most of the time, I haven't realized I got arrested because I'm so high, and all of a sudden I snap out of it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Did they find my drug? I'm just joking. All right, so I emerge. It tells me I emerge remorseful with a firm resolution. When I think of that emerge, man, I think of me on that green, dark booking cell floor in Carroll County. But they got good blueberry muffins in the morning. But I emerge remorseful with my blueberry muffin in my hand. Right? Full of what? Guilt. Shame. Remorse. Okay? And this firm resolution comes in after a little while. I'm like, you know what? After I eat my blueberry. Right? I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, I ain't gonna do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. That didn't happen for me every time. There was a lot more times than not that I got arrested. I was like, hell, I'm in here until I build my tolerance back up. Then I have a big old blast and I might be able to feel it. That was real, that was how it was for me. I'm not gonna say I was remorseful every time I got arrested. Okay? Because I wasn't. It was just a setback, exactly. It was a little break. There's been more times where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get some sleep. I don't have to deal with everybody out there. It's a little break time. But there was one time, a couple times, that I did emerge remorseful with a firm resolution. I was locked up for 6 months in Carroll County Jail. Okay? Was doing prayer meetings, going to church, got baptized in my oranges. Okay? Did the whole damn thing. I was on a $150,000 bond. 6 months later, I get in court, and they're like, Mr. Mills, you've done enough time served. We're going to drop your bond at $1,200. And the first thing that hit my mind was like, I'm about to get high. After all that, you know what I'm saying? Like all that, I didn't think anything about being high. I freaking, as soon as I got out, dude, within an hour, I had an ounce of dope in my hand, and I was right off to the races. Okay? Firm resolution. I'm not going to say they're bad. Okay? Because later next week, we're going to talk about human resources, and it's the same thing. Good reasons to get sober, but do they keep us sober? No. Okay. No, I think I'm going to stop right there. We'll come back next week, all right? Yeah.